Hi there, welcome to the Waffle Flower channel. This is Nicole and today I'm sharing some Monochrome Rainbow Cards featuring the brand new Monochrome Dies that coordinate with the previously released Monochrome Stamp Set. I'm creating a rainbow background with some of the Waffle Flower die inks with black and white stamped animal images from the Monochrome Stamp Set, and then thought bubbles in a rainbow of colors. This is super easy to do. I'm going to implement the scenery dies as well so that it appears that these cute little animals are floating in the clouds against a rainbow backdrop with rainbow thought bubbles. I'm going to start by stamping the images on some smooth white cardstock. I am using the Misty so that anything that I want to stamp more than once to get a really good solid image like these sheep here, I can stamp them one on top of another really easily. On the sheep that is not all black, I want to add a heart from the Monochrome Stamp Set and fill that in with a red solid heart also from this stamp set. Every stamp I'm using today is from the Monochrome Stamp Set. You could create even more cards than just the two I'm sharing here today. For a full set of rainbow cards, I think that would be really cute and a really fun gift to give to someone. Once I have my two sheep stamped, I'm going to grab thought bubbles, specifically this little thought bubble here for the sheep card. I'll use another one for the card with the cow, plus a couple of heart images. And I started out with just this first thought bubble first and stamped it with the red My Pleasure ink. Again, I am using the Misty. It makes it easy to stamp the image one on top of another. The red didn't stamp really solid the first time. The orange did. You never know, but it simply saves paper. I have found that I have stamped images multiple times before trying to get a great solid stamped image, and sometimes it can be trickier than others. The orange is the, I think, Oh Happy Day, I want to say. I hope it's Oh Happy Day. Yellow is You Said What? And at about this point, I realized I wanted little hearts to go with this. So I'm kind of going to go back and stamp these little hearts as well. And then I want to have this heart thought bubble in all 6 colors that I'm using for my rainbow. So first I'm going to stamp my hearts with the My Pleasure ink before I stamp the green thought bubble, which is the Chirp Chirp ink. Need to fill in with a little orange heart as well. And these are just fantastic ink colors. I absolutely love these for stamping solid images, and as I'm going to show here in just a little bit, you can use ink dusters or ink blending tools, whatever you like, to use the ink to create backgrounds. Lots of great ways to use these inks. So here's the Chirp Chirp. Make sure and get a good stamped image. I am using a stamp chamois to clean my inks. Next, my blue color I'm using is the Daydreaming ink. It's a fantastic blue color. And some of these little images are really small, but grouped together, I think they're just fantastic. And I'm going to show you how I do that when I put the card all together. Finally, I'm going to finish with the Happy Go Lucky ink. This is the purple I'm using. And then I will die cut all of the images with the coordinating Monochrome dies. And this is the new product that was just released. I love when companies come out with dies that coordinate back to stamp sets that maybe were previously released. It gives your stamps new life. Using some Post-it tape or another low-tack tape, I've made a little point there with my pencil to mark that off. It also gives me a really good idea where I want my masking tape to meet up at all the way around my card. And I'm going to create a rainbow of rays using the Waffle Flower dye inks. This is the You Said What ink. I'll simply peel up the Post-it tape and move that. I like to kind of start at the center. So I'm starting on one side of the center and going to move to the left first, and then I will go back and move to the right. Next, the You Said What, or Oh Happy Day. I'm sorry, I get them wrong. This is the orange, so I've got yellow and orange, and the ink duster is just fantastic for applying the ink to the card. You could also use an ink blending tool if you wanted to, like a foam blender, whatever you like. I really love these ink dusters. It gives a great coverage and goes on so super smooth. This is the My Pleasure ink. You can use the Post-it tape. I think I only used mine about 3 times, and it starts losing its color or not color, it's a stickiness, and it doesn't stay put so good. I guess I'm going to go ahead and try to use this one more time. So I like to switch it out periodically. This is the Chirp Chirp ink, and you can definitely see those rainbow rays starting to take shape. This is a fantastic way to create a really fun background. So the images themselves are very simple, very classic, solid stamped images. And then simply by adding them to a rainbow background, it just gives these cards a real pop that makes the cards pop. Daydreaming ink is next, and I'm just going to wipe down my ink blending tool a little bit, make sure that some of that excess ink comes out. I recommend washing these with soap and water when you're completely done, but you can see I used one tool to do all 6 of my colors. I only have the one tool. I think it would really have been better if I'd had a couple more and could only maybe use 1 or 2 tools. However, I did make it work. So if you only have one, you can make it work. When I peel that up, you can definitely see that awesome rainbow. Oh Happy Day is next, my purple. Lay that down. Now, I felt like I didn't move the rays out quite wide enough on this first panel, which I did fix for the second one. So I need to add a little additional color on each side because my clouds aren't going to come up quite that high and I don't want any white space. So I'm simply going to start repeating the color by adding My Pleasure ink and Oh Happy Day over on this side, Happy Go Lucky, and a little Daydreaming. What's great about doing this with dye inks as well, there is really no dry wait time. It's going to be dry almost immediately, just kind of like dye ink is. Dye ink absorbs into your paper, and there is not that dry time that a pigment-based ink or a distress ink would have. So basically, it is dry right now, which is fantastic for being able to move right on and work on something else. This is a new scenery die. I think it looks like an awesome cloud when used this way. So I'm going to cut a couple of these borders for along the bottom edge of both cards. Both cards are going to be created exactly the same in this respect. And I want to add a stamped greeting from the Monochrome Stamp Set that reads, "My world is just black and white without you." So I'm going to stamp this with a black ink on the top layer of clouds. And what I ended up doing was creating 2 cloud borders per card to layer there so that the animal can kind of be tucked in between the clouds, if that makes sense. And you want the greeting on the cloud in the forefront. So there is my greeting and my rainbow background, and now I'm ready to pull it all together. Got my cute little sheep, my clouds, and all of these thought bubbles. And I always kind of like to lay things out, make sure it's all going to work, and then go ahead and start putting it together. So I'm attaching the cloud borders along the bottom edge. Tuck the sheep into place, and that's going to serve as my guide to know where to start with the rainbow thought bubbles and hearts. And then I'm going to start attaching all of these. The thought bubbles I'm attaching with Zot's Bling glue dots. The hearts are so teeny tiny, I'm using a little liquid glue. This is actually Glossy Accents to attach all of these. I'll go ahead and add my thought bubbles first. Now that I kind of can gauge where they're all gonna, the spacing anyway, where they're gonna go. Then I'm gonna add little dabs of glue and simply start adding the hearts. And this is gonna fill that in and just really make a cute little embellishment coming out from these two sheep. Add just a couple more little hearts here. Then I'm going to take some Glossy Accents and I'm going to fill in the hearts. In the thought bubbles, I'm going to fill in the solid hearts with Glossy Accents, give them a nice coat. It's going to give them some shine and dimension, as well as the eyes on the sheep. Attach this panel to a white top fold card base. And then there's another little image that's some little dotted lines and or little dots rather, and a heart that I'm going to stamp right there below the greeting and fill in with a red marker. And I'll show you that here in just a second. I'll attach this to that white top fold card base. And stamp that little image there right underneath. I think it adds a cute little heart image that coordinates with the rest of the design. Plus, by coloring it in, it just brings in a little color to the bottom of the card. So there is the first card all finished. I'm going to set that aside to dry and go ahead and start stamping the images for the second card. The cow is going to be stamped with black ink again for a black and white cow. And then this time, I'm going to incorporate some of the larger thought bubbles and add stamped greetings to those, or a heart, depending on what they are. And I had a little bit of trouble getting a solid red for that thought bubble, so I cleaned the stamp and then stamped it again, and that seemed to work. Using all the same colors again. And I'll use an assortment this time, 3 of the larger thought bubbles, 3 of the smaller ones, and then a scattering of hearts. I'm adding hey and hello to 2 of these thought bubbles. And to the final larger thought bubble I'm using, stamped with the Chirp Chirp ink. I'll stamp him here in just a minute. That I'm going to add a solid black heart to. You could also add a different greeting if you wanted to, or just leave it empty. The 3 smaller thought bubbles are stamped in You Said What, Daydreaming, and Happy Go Lucky. Here's that Chirp Chirp thought bubble. And the solid heart image for that. Once all of the images are stamped, I'm going to die cut all of these with the Monochrome dies again. I've got another rainbow background, 2 borders created with the scenery die for the cloudy borders, the greeting, the little heart with the little dots next to it. And then I want to lay out my thought bubbles, make sure I figure out the best way to attach these. And then go ahead and secure those to the card base using an assortment of adhesive, whatever's going to work the best. Then I'm going to attach this to a white top fold card base and finish this panel with Glossy Accents as well. It'll fill in the hearts, give them a nice glazed finish, add just a tiny bit of embellishment to them, and also to the eyes on the cow. The thought bubbles are all attached with a tape runner or some glue dots, and then a scattering of the little hearts is always a nice touch, I think. They're so teeny tiny, but they really add a lot to the card design. Once all of my hearts are in place and some glossy accents has been added to it, my second card featuring the Monochrome Stamp Set and a rainbow inked background is all finished. Thanks for joining me today for these cards featuring the Monochrome Stamps and Dies and the Scenery Dies. For more product information, please visit waffleflower.com. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for more creative ideas. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.